Does dating advice help or hinder you? Is it one size fits most? So I think that in this video, I'm just wondering if dating coach's advice should be one size fits all. Does it apply to everyone, or should it just apply to certain people? Back when I was in a bad relationship, I had asked my lover if we could go out to dinner on my birthday, but the answer he gave me was a little shocking. What happened was he told me he finally admitted, after I'd suspected for many months, that he had a girlfriend. And the news was a shock to me, so I dropped to the floor, and he rushed to pick me up. And that might seem like a very dramatic response, but part of it was the shock, but also part of it was a way of showing my emotion to him to try to get him to come forward more. I was following a dating coach's advice. To find out more about what I think, keep watching. Hi, I'm Michelle Troutman from myjourneytolove.com, where you don't need to fit in, just show up as you are on the path to true love. So as you can imagine, I felt really bad after I got the news. I felt like I had been stabbed in the heart, even though that was a metaphorical stabbing. I just kind of felt very drained emotionally for months after that, and I eventually struggled to get out of the relationship because of all the issues I had tied up with him. But I knew that I had to get out, and he was basically trying to keep me on the line as a second or third choice, for all I know, in case his relationship with his girlfriend, who I thought was his girlfriend, actually didn't turn out. So anyhow, I got through all that, but in the meantime, what I want to discuss is that the advice that I was given was that it was intended to be one size fits all, I guess, but it didn't really suit my situation. So at the time, I was following a few dating coaches like Evan Michael Katz and raye. And raye was teaching that you should lean back and let the male take the lead. And that advice seemed to work for a little while. It got my lover to come closer a little bit. But we would run into problems, like if I would make a request, he would not follow through with it. So really, in the end, it didn't seem to work, and it didn't really work because this man was narcissistic. It might have worked more if this person was more normal, or had more of a normal psychological profile. So I'm wondering today if dating coach's advice is mostly one size fits most. Does it apply to everyone, or does it apply only to some people or some situations, as in my case? Have you tried dating coach's advice? And if you have, did it apply to you? Do you think it applies to everyone? So what inspired me to do this video was the video that a dating coach named Jonathan Asley posted a few months back. He wrote a book called What the Heck is Self-Love Anyway? And it's a good book. I recommend that you read it, especially if you're struggling with loving yourself and attracting people who love you. So in this video that Jonathan posted, it was partly aimed at his colleagues. He was trying to suggest that they teach more of a philosophy of love based on friendship, because that was working for Jonathan in his new relationship, and that was something that he hadn't tried before. But my interpretation of the advice that he was giving was that he was intending it to work for everyone. If it worked for him, why not? Why wouldn't it work for everyone else? And I do think this is sound advice, but I'm not sure that it'll work for everyone, because we're all wired differently. What attracts us to someone might not work. We have different love maps, is my philosophy. In other words, some of what goes into our psychology of attraction is based on how we're wired. So, and even in philosophies like John Lee's love styles, which I do believe in, other people can have a more passionate tendency toward love. They might have a more lust-based love. Then they might be going more for that than somebody who goes for more companionate love, which is the friendship-based love that Jonathan was espousing in that video that I saw. So I'm wondering if coach's advice is one size fits all. One thing I think that Jonathan gets right is self-empowerment for women. He's teaching women to do away with the leaning back into the feminine BS that a lot of coaches have taught us over the years. I believe that you shouldn't have to play games to get a potential partner to love you or like you. They should love you for who you are, and that's the cornerstone of my authentic dating philosophy. You show up as you are, you're not hiding or wearing a mask, and that way the other person can decide whether or not they like you. It's that simple. So my problem with Jonathan's approach, or my problem with the dating coach's advice in general, and what I was learning from Rori Raye, was that it didn't really work. My relationship problems were deeper. It was not just a problem with my problem that I had with expressing my feelings. It was with being treated like I was sloppy seconds. And I had a difficulty facing this truth and the reality of my lover's behavior toward me all along, really. And he was narcissistic, so I think that if he had a more normal psychological profile, it would have applied more to him. This is something that no amount of leaning back could fix if somebody is dishonest, especially. I could not just get into a friends with benefits relationship and leave my feelings aside. I'm not that type of person. So it wasn't working for me, the whole thing, the advice and the relationship. So a key takeaway here is to try, but don't necessarily buy into dating coach's advice. See if it works for you. If it doesn't, try something else, or even just set it aside. And I know I'm not a dating coach. I'm just somebody who's relaying what's worked for me or what hasn't worked for me in dating to try to help others. But I just wanted to find out what other people think like you about this, and if maybe a lot of these coaches should focus more on custom dating advice, or even if I decide to do this sort of thing in the future. To see if you're showing up authentically on dates or hiding, take the Am I Dating in Disguise quiz. See the link in the video description. And tell me in the comments, have you ever stayed quiet to avoid looking imperfect on a date? What's one thing you'd wished you'd said? If this resonated at all with you, please share to spread the word. And like and subscribe for the next video. Thank you so much for watching.